is how can I create similar momentum that I create in pull downs and in long toss, and then how can I create that similar momentum in, say, like my mound mechanics. So obviously when we're talking about pull downs, we're talking about running guns, we're talking about long toss, obviously the momentum is going to be drastically different because you have a running start, and it's obvious, right? But when we do talk about momentum in the pitching delivery, for me, again, this could vary per individual, this could vary per instructor. I'm sure everyone has kind of a different idea or concept on this. But for me personally, I almost think about, how can I create as much momentum with that lead leg as possible? So breaking it down, if I'm coming set and I'm leg lifting and my lead leg is out in front, so think about the momentum that it creates from this position, that lead foot, from that position to front foot strike occurring down the hill or downstream a little bit, right? Think about the momentum there. Not that much, right? Or even just kind of parallel to my body, right? Not that much momentum with that lead leg generating momentum forward into front foot plant. Think about now what the difference of that compared to my momentum if I can cross my lead leg from my drive leg. So cross here, okay? Now think about from that foot position in this position right here to front foot plant. So now I'm able to create a lot more momentum as I enter my drive phase into front foot plant, right? Again, just something to think about. It's not to say that it's 100% certain that it's the golden ticket for you. That's kind of something that I've always thought about myself, something that I've always put into play for my personal gain and my personal development, is just adding a simple lead leg cross and then coming down. Now the key points to remember when you're doing a move like this is your posture can't sacrifice. Can't sacrifice your posture. And what I mean by that is, if you're going to cross and you don't have the efficient movement capacity to be able to pull off a move like this without compensating elsewhere, then you're going to throw yourself all out of alignment as you enter your drive phase. That's not what we want, okay? We want to make sure that we're able to stabilize with this drive leg, get to the peak of our leg lift, cross that front foot, and then enter our drive phase and go in the front foot plant. So the biggest thing that I see when I teach this with guys is they think about like the Linscombs of the world, right? Who have that big cross here and then kind of, that lateral trunk tilt, so on and so forth. But what I see with younger guys is they don't have the authentic stability and coordination of their drive leg. So as soon as they go into this kind of more of aggressive leg lift, they throw themselves out of whack, they throw themselves off balance, which therefore is gonna, right? I talk about this a lot too. The body's gonna try to overcompensate for that balance point and make up somewhere else, which usually what we see is a guy that maybe leans back as he approaches the peak of his leg lift, and then when he comes down from his leg lift, that's when the body compensates and maybe goes in a forward direction there, and then you see an aggressive head pull, so on and so forth. So we see that instability and basically just the inability to balance with that drive leg with an aggressive leg lift, a cross leg lift like that. Second thing is you see guys that really over exaggerate and try to get super aggressive with this cross leg lift to the point where they throw that leg way up. They don't have the mobility, or they have some sort of restriction in that hip flexor, so therefore their trunk posture kind of falls like this way. I know that's kind of correlated to what I just said, but the inability to really just simplify the leg lift to the point where you're not having to force here, Dontrell Willis style, right? It's just a simple leg lift in control, getting to that max peak leg lift range that you can own, and then simply driving forward. So to break it down, the first thing that guys maybe struggle with is the inability to stabilize in that drive leg, the uncoordination, if that's a word, unbalance. And then two is they try to be too over aggressive with that leg lift that again throws them off and try to make up for it downstream. But to wrap it all up in a nice little bow, this is why I'm such an advocate for overall athleticism trumps all, right? Because you can have a guy that struggles with a little bit of coordination, even though if you're a superior athlete, you may not struggle with coordination. But say you do, your body is able to make those adjustments in the drive phase and be efficient out through ball release. So long story short, be athletic. But hopefully that little cue and that tip of incorporating momentum in your delivery and somewhat kind of replicating a pull down or a long toss or a run and gun throw, even though it's not going to be always replicated. So hope that made sense. Hope you got something from it. As always, like, subscribe, share, do something cool with it. I don't know. See ya.